Alright, so what's going on, guys? My name's Chopper, and I hope everybody's having a wonderful day. This is a special video. Today, we have the ultimate guide to Black Ops 4 Zombies. That's right. We're gonna go over everything you need to know about this mode. Everything from the specialist weapons, to the elixirs, to the new perk system, shield locations, full pack-a-punch tutorials for every single map, and the new specialist weapons, and everything else in between. Now, that being said, there is a lot to take in. There's so much information that we're gonna go over, and if there's any additional help that you find yourself needing, go in the description as there's going to be additional help down there. And before we get started here today, if we could go for an insane like goal of 10,000 likes. I know that's shooting for the stars, but I know you guys could hit it, and I'd really appreciate it after all the work that I put into making this guide. And of course, if you're brand new to the channel, make sure to subscribe if you have not already. We're getting close to our goal of 200,000, and you have plenty more Black Ops 4 Zombies content coming out, as well as Blackout things, so stick around for that, all of that great stuff. And last but not least, if you're not already a member of my Discord server, if you want people to play zombies with or anything like that, go join up. It's a great community, and I'd love to have you there. But with all that being said, let's go jump into this ultimate guide for Black Ops 4 Zombies. Before we jump into the game itself, we need to go and understand the perk system. So we're gonna head to the create a class menu and take a look at all of this. Now, you can already tell that right off the bat, this is very different to all the other perk systems that we're used to in Call of Duty Zombies. Now, the way that this works in Black Ops 4 is that you have 4 different locations where you can buy perks from, and you can see the list of perks under there. Now, the categories of perks are as follows. There are brews, sodas, colas, and tonics, and there's something special about the tonic, and we will get to that in a little bit. There are a lot of new perks, but only a couple that are returning from old games, such as Quick Revive and Stamina, but these have been a little bit altered. Now, most of the perks are brand new, and I'm not going to go through each and every single one because you can look at the menu, you can read them, and make an evaluation for yourself about which ones you want to run. But at the end of the day, the tonic and or the Odin slot for the Chaos storyline is going to be an important pick for you because this is somewhat of a pro perk. You get a modifier with whatever you put in that slot. So for instance, let's say I want to put Stamina Up in my tonic slot. What this is going to allow me to do is not only have the regular perk of Stamina Up itself, but it's going to be the pro version to where I have unlimited sprint also coming with it, and I can fire while sprinting. So every single perk has a pro version of itself, but you can only select one to have that extra modifier in the game, and you can change this obviously if you want to play a different match. When it comes to what I think are the best perks in the game right now, ones that I really enjoy are ones like Time Slip, Quick Revive, Winter's Wail, Stamina Up, Dying Wish, and Electric Burst. These are all kind of spins on perks we've had in the past, but if you run the pro version or even just the regular version, they can do some new things. So I recommend to really spend some time in the perk menus to figure out what you want to play with and try different combinations. Now, if you go back to the menu and look at the right side, you're able to select your own starting weapon, and you have a choice of a couple of different pistols, a Mag 12 shotgun, and even a SOG 9mm SMG, and that's the one that I typically run. You can also change what grenade or piece of equipment that you want to start out with. I normally like to go with the frag grenade or even the Wraithfire, which are very good. And now it comes to these specialist weapons. You can also select going into the game. You can do this for both sides of the storylines, and as far as these ones go, I think that the Overkill Death Machine and the Ragnaroks are probably the better of the 4. Keep in mind, every specialist weapon has 3 stages. That's a more powerful version of itself. Now let's take a look at the elixir menu, which is the new replacement of gumballs from Black Ops 3, and these are only the classic ones in the menu right now. There are also some rare ones, epic ones that are going to be a little bit later in the game that you cannot access offline, so the equivalent to mega gumballs from Black Ops 3. But just looking at the classics here, a lot are returning from the game, and some have been repurposed as different elixirs. So for instance, we have things like Stock Option and Anywhere But Here returning to the game, and we have some new ones that have been brought from megas into classics such as Aftertaste. Now this is different to BO3. You don't need to hit a gumball machine to acquire these. You spawn in with them, but you can only pick 4 total, and then you assign them to different spots on your D-pad. Some of the best elixirs I recommend you bring in are Anywhere But Here, Aftertaste, Anti-Entrapment, and the final one, Stock Option. There's also a settings option in the menu called Talismans, but we'll get to that a little bit later. They're basically just going to be game modifiers. By this point, you've probably got your setup. Now let's jump into the game. We're going to go through all the maps in order, starting with 9. In my opinion, 9 is the easiest one for beginners, or if you're just getting used to Black Ops 4 Zombies or Zombies as a whole. It's very friendly to newer players. The layout's very easy to understand, and it's not too difficult of a map. So the first thing that I recommend you do on 9, every single game you play, is as soon as you come out of the spawn gate, take a left and go over all the way on the left side of the wall. There will be a small rope that's holding a flag. Knife the rope to release the flag, and you'll be given a set of challenges. And as you can see on my challenge board on the left side, I need to kill 10 zombies with my special weapon. So as soon as I complete all these different challenges, it only takes you a couple rounds to do, at most 6 or 7. So it's really just like kind of the beginning of setting up your game. Once you complete all the challenges, you will be rewarded with a pack-a-punched weapon. Yes, you can do this every single game. You'll be given this pack-a-punched pistol, and it'll make the rest of setting up much easier. And that's all well and good, but now we're going to use this as a tool to actually get real pack-a-punch. The first step in getting pack-a-punch on 9 is by going up into one of these god rooms where the perk stations are, and at each sector of the map, there's going to be one of these gongs on the wall. Hold square on this to summon a champion. All the gongs look exactly like this, so just keep an eye out for those. Once you summon your first champion, it's going to spawn you in a boss zombie to kill. And now, you know, it's probably a lower round. You might not have, if you don't have the pack-a-punch pistol, don't worry about it. These guys look a lot tougher than they really are. You'll be able to kill him just fine without any upgraded weapons, but if you do have that pistol from a little bit earlier, it made things much easier. But assuming you take your first boss out, he's going to drop a head, and this is a 1 out of 4 heads of the champions that you need to pick up. It's going to go automatically to your inventory. You don't need to worry about carrying it around, and you're 1 out of 4 already done. The second gong will be located in the Danu altar room, and the gong will be on the left side as soon as you walk in. And what this one's going to do is spawn you in some tigers. These are the champions for this sector of the map. Now, these are honestly no joke. They're a little bit tougher than standard dogs or anything that we're used to in previous zombie games, so be a little bit cautious. They're really not too hard to take down though, especially again if you have that pistol. Pick up the head, you're good to go with your next one, and from here on out, you need to actually explore underground to open up the other 2 sectors from the backside. The last 2 sections are also where the last 2 gongs are, can only be accessed by going through the cave. You'll need to explore a little bit down there and open them up from the inside out. The third gong will be located in the Odin altar room, and again, this one is one that you have to access from the inside going through the cave. Once you arrive here, you hit the gong, a champion is going to spawn. This time it's going to be that guy with the claws. This one is really easy to kill though, I'm not going to lie. You can take him down before he even enters the map, so don't sweat it. And then at this point, then you'll need to either open this way out and then go back into the main Coliseum, or you can continue to go back underground and then access the last sector you need to get for the final gong. Now, the fourth and final gong you'll need to do will be in the Zeus altar room. This should probably be the last place you get to, realistically speaking, and then you'll summon your champions once again. And since this is the last one, it's going to give you a little bit more of a challenge. 2 champions are going to spawn in. Normally, it's one spiky boy and one of the axe throwing guys. And again, like I said, they look a lot tougher than they really are, and especially if you're set up for this part, you'll have no trouble. And you'll reach a checkpoint by the time you kill both of these guys. You'll have all 4 champion heads, which you need to collect for this next step. And also, by this point, you'll have the entirety of the map finally open, assuming you've kind of explored underground and opened up all the doors that need to be opened down there. But go ahead and do what you just did for the final ones. Grab the champion head. That will be all 4 that you need to get for the last step, and then we can go ahead and open up Pack-a-Punch now. Go back into the underground section of the map in the main room where you'll find these. This is basically an underground chamber that links all of the places, so it's not too hard to find. And once you get right here, take all the 4 heads and place them on these spikes in front of this big altar. What's going to happen is the blood is going to trickle down, it's going to gather at the bottom, and then it's going to transform this machine into the Pack-a-Punch machine. And there you go, it is unlocked. You are now free to upgrade your guns, and it's the same prices as always, 5,000 for single pack, and then double pack is 2,500. So there's that. That's how to upgrade your weapons on 9. It's pretty easy and straightforward once you get the hang of it. And I also know there's going to be questions about double Pack-a-Punch. Yes, it is returning. A lot of elements from BO3 come back, the alternate ammo types. We have Dead Wire, but these are all a little bit tweaked. Dead Wire, Blast Furnace turned, and Thunderwall returned, but ever so slightly changed. Like, for example, Thunderwall is now more of an ice effect. So play around with those, and we'll see which one ends up being the best. Now, once you've gotten this far in the game, you've got Pack-a-Punch set up. The last thing you can really do that I'm going to show you how to do is build the zombie shield. I'll show you the locations to put this together. The first and easiest piece to pick up is located in the raw altar room, and here's a spot that it can be in. You can go ahead and pick that up. You need 1 out of 3, and this is the first and easiest to get. It'll also be somewhere else in the room if it's not in that one, but they're all pretty close to each other. The second piece will be located in the Odin Tower, either the entrance or upstairs. There's really only 2 locations that I found, and they're pretty easy to spot. This one's over here on the shelf. I'm gonna go and pick that up, and it looks like this. That's your second piece, and you're good to go with the final one. The third and final piece will be in the Zeus Tower, and check in this room for this particular piece right here. If you cannot find any of it in that room, then check in the description, and I'll have a few more unknown locations just in case you're struggling to find any, and that should be able to help you out down there. But assuming you're able to find all 3 pieces by this point, go ahead and take these parts over to this crafting table in the cave near the Pack-a-Punch room and craft it. As soon as it's built, you can pick up your Brazen Bull, and this shield is very, very different. It's new, it's unique. You can actually shoot from the shield sort of like you can in the multiplayer. That's kind of the theme, how all of these shields are going to operate in the next upcoming maps. Just a little bit of a hint, but it's a very cool looking thing. It's aesthetically very nice. You can shoot from it. It's very useful as well, and you can always restock your shield if it breaks for 1,000 points. So that's pretty much 9. Let's go ahead and move on to our next map, which is Voyage of Despair. Now, let me say a quick disclaimer before we jump into everything that Voyage has to offer. This map is probably the hardest layout to understand in any zombies map in history, and that's not even an exaggeration. It took me a long time to really get the flow of the map down and understand where I am, and it's also going to make following this video much easier. So if you want to spend some time on your first playthrough just to kind of get familiar with the layout, it's really not a bad move. But when you feel like you're ready to take on Voyage, we're going to show how to do Pack-a-Punch, build the zombie shield, and a couple other interesting things that you'll like. Then get ready to follow along. I'm going to make it as clear as I possibly can, and let's go ahead and get started. First thing you want to do is open up to the complete other end of the map where this blue sentinel artifact is going to be. It's pretty much a straight shot from spawn to the back of the boat, and once you get here, you'll be able to see this artifact. Hold square on it, and it's going to do a summoning ritual where it will spawn in 4 different artifacts that we need to hold square on. Now, you will also see this portal appear, and this is the transportation system of the map, as it is quite extensive. You'll go into this ghostly form, and it'll take you back to spawn, but it will give you an option to drop down in the middle if you wish to do so. But for Pack-a-Punch, we're going to have to go all the way back to spawn for this, and once you land, you're back to where you were. Drop down, go to the bottom section of the floor, and there should be an opening for you to drop down in. Drop down the hole, go down the stairs, and go all the way to the back of the underwater room where that first artifact will be. You just hold square on it and you can leave. I'm going to come out of the water here to show you exactly where this is. It'll give you a better perspective on how to get there if I do it in a reverse order for this one. And now let's move on to the second. The second room we're going to access is in the Millionaire Suites in the middle portion of the map. Access this red portal here, go through it, and then you're going to find yourself into this freezer section of the map. It's called Provisions, so look for that area. And then we're going to buy the doors all the way down through the engine room over to where you can access and jump into the water. And again, we have to access our second rune from underwater once more. Now, you'll jump into the water to do a little bit of a 180, go to the back of the room, and it's a bright red light that's, you know, pretty much impossible to miss. Do the same thing, hold square on it, it will be activated, and you can get out of there. If you want to, you can go to the other side of the turbine room to access and drain the water out of this entire area, and it's nice, but it's not necessary. Now, the third room will be located around the big grand staircase that's in the middle of the map. It's really, really easy to find, and once you find yourself at the staircase, make yourself all the way down to the very bottom of the staircase, where you'll find sort of the bottom portion of the boat, and you'll see the last rune all the way into the back over there propped up against the wall. Hold square on that, it will be your third one. And then now we need to take ourselves back over to where the scepter was at the back of the boat where we started this whole thing originally, where the last rune will be there waiting. Once you found yourself at the back of the boat once again where we started the sentinel, you'll find the final and 4th rune right here. Hold square again as you've done always, and this will transform itself into the fully fledged Pack-a-Punch machine, and you can upgrade whatever you want from here on out. And it's very, very easy to do. It's a hard concept, right? Some of the things are a little bit tricky to find, but hopefully this guide in this sort of section of the video was able to clear that up a little bit. And you can upgrade as many times as you want. You can get double Pack-a-Punch, all that good stuff. But we're not done just yet. We're also going to learn how to build the zombie shield, which is mega useful in Voyage. Now, the zombie shield is going to work the same way as finding it in 9. There will be 3 different parts that we need. However, this shield has a couple more interesting things that the 9 shield doesn't do. It's like the same thing in concept, but has a few more little toys on it. So let's go and look for the final 3 pieces to build this shield. The first shield piece will be in the staterooms coming out of the spawn, and it should be on this chair over here sitting there. And if it's not in that location, it's probably going to be somewhere else very close. If you cannot find it, check the description. We'll have the other unknown locations just in case you can't spot it. The second piece is normally on the bridge at the top of the ship, somewhere around this vicinity. It could be sitting on this bench or somewhere very, very close to it. And the third and final piece can be in the provisions or that freezer room. This is the part you're looking for. You can pick it up propped up against that wall, and then that's all 3 you need to build it. You got all 3 pieces, go over to the top deck where the original sentinel artifact was, and you can head over to the crafting table to put together your ballistic shield. And it looks very, very nice. It's a super cool piece of equipment that you can use now, and it does one more thing that I believe the 9 shield does not, and it's kind of like this lockdown. It's a fortify mode that you can do, which sort of just shields itself further, and it's very useful. This is good against boss zombies, being able to shoot from it. It's a nice luxury, so I always recommend that you have it in game, and it's going to be probably pretty necessary for doing the main questline Easter egg in this map as well. Now, those are all of the essentials for setting up in Voyage of Despair. That's how to do Pack-a-Punch. That's how to also build the ballistic shield. Again, these were try to be short and concise and to the point, but again, it's one of those things where I recommend that you still explore the map as much as possible to learn the layout, as it will take some time. But what this was supposed to do is set you off on the right foot for Voyage and get you a decent footing on the map. If you have any further questions about the map, make sure to let me know inside of the comment section, and I'll do my best to answer them, or maybe somebody else in the comments will answer them also. But that's pretty much Voyage of Despair, guys. We're going to jump over to our final map here today, Blood of the Dead. Now, this one has a much more classic zombie setup style, right? In the last ones, we haven't had to turn on the power or worry about anything of that nature. And if you're familiar with Mob from Black Ops 2, then you'll understand the layout of Blood much more easily. But there also are some new areas that we've never seen before, and we're going to walk through all of that, of course. The first thing in this map you'll want to make sure you do is get the power turned on. There are 2 power switches in the map, and here is the first one. When you come out of spawn, you'll only need to buy 2 doors. You go all the way to the left side where this gate is to drop down into the powerhouse, buy the door to the powerhouse, and flip that switch. Once you've got the power on in that area and you're comfortable on your feet, you can go through the tunnel and into the new industries section of the map, and you'll see that there's a wolf head or a dog head symbol on the wall. If you've played Mob in any capacity, you'll probably be familiar with how this works, but if you're not, just in case, what you want to do is bring a zombie in the vicinity of the symbol and kill it right in front of it. And now when that zombie dies, it's going to be sucked up by the dog is going to munch on that zombie, and you'll need to feed it a total of 6 for it to go away, and that's when it's complete, and that'll be useful a little bit later. After you've done that, open the door to the catwalk to access the other side of the island, and going through this catwalk, you need to use your specialist weapon going through here. It's been confirmed to me that this was literally made for you to use your specialist weapon, so please take advantage of it. You will be granted armor while you're using that weapon as well, which will be useful because you're just going to get absolutely slaughtered if you're not taking advantage of this. But once you arrive on the other side of the recreation area, you want to survive the rest of these zombies and kill the warden. Now, I was shooting the warden in this like an absolute mup. This is a scripted event, so you can't kill him right there. Wait for him to spawn on the other side of the island closer to you and kill the rest of the enemies, preferably the dogs first. You can shoot them before they spawn on the other side, just a pro tip. But this was my first time running it through, so don't blame me. But you want to wear down the warden and the rest of the zombies until you kill him. The first warden that you kill in your Blood game, no matter what, is going to drop a blue key that you're going to want to pick up. You just run over it and grab it, and then you officially have it in your inventory. Next thing you'll want to do is go inside to where the entrance of the cafeteria would normally be, and go to this afterlife box, hold square to pick up this energy aura that's floating around the red box. If it's not at that location, there are 2 more potential ones that you should possibly check. The other alternate location will be in the spawn room that would be on if you were to spawn in on regular Mob of the Dead on BO2, and it's the first afterlife box that you have access to over there. So it's just around this corner, really, in this library. If it's not over in that location, then head over to the next one. Make your way down Michigan Avenue like you were accessing the Warden's office in Mob, and it's this afterlife box location right here, and it should be at one of those 3 locations for you to access. And once you have that aura, you're good to go. While you're in this area of the cell blocks, I recommend finishing the second dog and filling up all the souls in that one. This is also the exact same location as what would be the first dog if you were playing Mob. Now, this one's a little bit tough because you hardly have any room to work with, and the zombies are very fast and aggressive. In regular Mob, it was easier because the zombies were slower as you were doing this one on a lower round, but this one's a bit tricky, so please be careful when you're finishing this one up. After that, head downstairs, go all the way down the spiral staircase room, and then head into the power room in regular Mob, and go all the way to the back over here, what would be the afterlife accessible only area if you're playing Mob, and hit the power switch that are in the back. There's 3 different possible locations. This is a little bit tricky because this room will be dark by default and will be flashing on and off. Like when lightning strikes, you'll be able to see which lever you need to flip, and it's kind of just like a way for the game to screw you a little bit if you get caught in the dark and pick the wrong one. And also keep in mind that after you turn on the final 50% of the power there, a Brutus will spawn in and try to trap you in the room. So just a heads up for that, be careful. But now you're in prime position to finish building the shield, so go back into the spiral staircase room. What you're going to be looking for is a front of a shield piece. It's like a big, bulky, like front metal plate that's actually very easy to spot. So look in the corners of the kind of tunnel here, and then you'll find a piece that looks like this laying around. And if it's not in that exact location, it should be somewhere in the vicinity. But that is actually all the things you need to build a shield, but you do need it for Pack-a-Punch. There is a crafting table that you can use on the docks to put together your shield, and this is going to allow you to pick up the most special one, in my opinion, the Spectral Shield. It's very, very cool. It's a super unique design, and it does something very interesting that is essential for unlocking Pack-a-Punch. You'll pull this out, and then you'll want to use your right trigger to drain the essence of zombies, just like this. You'll hold it down until they fall over, and you basically suck out their soul into the key. You need to do this a couple of times to gather enough energy to do something with it. Take yourself to the rooftop like where you would build the plane in regular Mob of the Dead, and by this point you should have the key fully charged. You'll get a quote from your character confirming that it's ready, and it's really, really easy to do. You just put it in kind of like how you're about to fire the weapon from the other shields, but this time it fires a Spirit Blast. Fire the Spirit Blast at this afterlife box that powers up, and you'll see two ghosts appear that will literally summon the Pack-a-Punch machine on the bridge where the prisoners from the other map were kind of, executed. Probably the coolest way to access Pack-a-Punch that I've ever seen. Big props to Treyarch for that. It was absolutely insane. Also keep in mind, a Warden is going to spawn as soon as this happens as well, but it should be no problem because now you have access to these Pack-a-Punch weapons, so he's going to be light work. But now that you have both the zombie shield and access to Pack on Blood, we're not done yet. We have a few more things, some really cool things you can unlock to go over. It's going to be a good idea to finish up the third and final dog at this point. So go out towards Eagle Plaza. This is a new area right outside of the Warden's office. So the dog will be located on this thing. You know exactly what to do for this one as well. Now, normally once this was done, you would go downstairs to just pick up the Hell's Retriever. You just hold square. It'd be a really simple process once all 3 dogs are completed, but you do something a little bit different now. It's the coolest thing I've ever seen. Go into the shower room and access the Warden's house teleporter. Open this gate in the floor that says Warden's house and travel through this. It will teleport you straight into the retriever that you can pick up as you're flying through. Like, it's the coolest animation that I've ever seen. And then once it's going to spit you back up at the top of the Warden's house, right in this nice little area. But once you've done that, now you have access to the retriever for the rest of the game. I'm sure there's going to be an upgrade for this, but we'll get to that later on. I'm going to show you how to upgrade the Blundergat into its first upgraded form called the Acid Gat. This is a very simple fetch quest that you can do very early in the game. The first one you can get right out of spawn. It's in the powerhouse in this tunnel. It's this gray and silver box, and that's the first part you can get, and the other 2 are very easy to get as well. The second part you'll need is going into the Warden's office where the engine normally would be to pick up for the plane and mob, but it's going to be behind this cell, and the second piece you'll need for the kit is sitting on that table. The third and final piece is up in the infirmary in another former plane part location behind the safe. You can open it with the key, and that's all you need. So once you have all 3 of those parts, and of course the Blundergat that you acquired from the mystery box, you can take it over to the workbench that is in the same location where Electric Cherry used to be. It's very, very close to the third piece as well. Now, this is the first upgrade to the Acid Gat. There's also an upgrade for a Magma Gat, but that actually has not been discovered yet at the time of me recording this video, and it's more probably along the lines of Easter egg stuff. And this is just really a basic guide that really anybody can get comfortable with and used to on their first playthrough. But I think that's going to be it for today. That was the ultimate guide to Call of Duty Black Ops 4 Zombies. These are all the basics to help you get you on your feet for the rest of the things that you want to tackle in the map. Easter egg stuff will be coming a little bit later on. If you want to see full solo Easter egg guides, please let me know in the comment section, as I'm really unsure if I want to make them this year. I don't know if there's a lot of interest for that, but if you do, of course, I will make sure that I make very, very solid solo guides so that anybody can complete them. But I hope this was able to help get you started on BO4 Zombies and help you get into it a little bit. But if you guys enjoyed the video, please make sure to leave a like rating. Of course, subscribe to the channel if you are brand new. I'd really appreciate it. And finally, if you made it to the end of the video, first of all, you're an absolute legend. Thank you so much. And let me know if you are part of that squad by just leaving a smiley face in the comment section. I'll know, you know, if you know, right? Like, I'll see if you leave a smiley face that you watched all the way to the end. But anyways, guys, thank you for watching. Take it easy. Hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you all on the next stream or the next video. Peace out.